Namaskar. Hello and welcome to P Guru's channel. I'm your host Sree. Joining me today is Major General Rajiv Narayanan as we look at the sudden emergence of India as a military superpower. Maybe it was already that, but these 5 days has suddenly opened the eyes of the world to what India can do, and much of the stuff that India has used is its own homegrown. We're going to try and analyze this thing, and this is something that is a new data, new angle that we are looking at, new perspective. So please do like this video right away. And now let's welcome Rajiv Narayanan ji. General Rajiv Narayanan, namaskar and welcome to P Guru's channel. How are you, sir?
Absolutely fine and top of the world, sir, of what we have achieved.
Thank you, sir. You know, India's missiles have done deep penetration, precision strikes, and with no triggering escalation. That has to be underlined. Meaning, like, uska jawab nahi. You know, like in Hindi they say, "Palmolive ka jawab nahi." The famous ad of 𝗥𝗘𝗙𝗘𝗏, right?
Yes.
So this is what India has done in its strikes now. So my first question to you is, why is India's 5-day military response being seen as a turning point globally?
So, a few things. Firstly, people keep talking of having, high-tech weaponry, new weaponry. Somebody talks of F-16. Somebody says, F-35. Somebody says you must have the 5th generation aircraft, 6th generation aircraft. We have told that with the existing equipment, with intelligent upgrades, you can take care of everything. I'll give you certain things. Work on our 𝗟𝗏𝗃 had commenced way back around 2013. We were working on 𝗟𝗏𝗃 at that time. Every quarter we used to have a meeting with ISRO and the rest. I used to be part of that because of the chair that I was in. And how much, what all do we need? Now it is all in air. We're making use of that. We've not made use of any GPS, any GLONASS, nothing. It's 𝗟𝗏𝗃. And you're getting a CEP of 1 meter. Which the Americans...
Unpack that for us. Unpack accuracy. Is that accuracy?
That is accuracy. The circular error of probability, where it will strike. That means if I have aimed at a place, the maximum dispersion from that spot will be 1 meter. This we saw personally just before I retired. Me and General Shankar, we were very keen that we must check the BrahMos. Then at 295 range we had, because we were not part of MTCR. Though there itself, with an upgrade to software, you could go up to 4,500. But since we were not signatories to MTCR, which we are now, we couldn't go beyond 300.
What is NPCR, sir? What is NPCR?
Missile Technology Control Regime.
Okay.
So in Missile Technology Control Regime, any country which is giving technology to a non-signatory, you cannot go beyond 300 kilometers. That was the limit.
I see.
So to protect Russia's interests, Russia was a signatory, we kept it at 295. But we were practicing the firing in Pokhran, which was giving us a maximum range of about 50-60 kilometers, which we said was not okay. So the RT, the Navy, and the Andaman Nicobar Command came on board, Air Force came on board, and we identified an island, one place from where we could fire. I won't tell where, from where we fired it. Another place, uninhabited island. The distance was 262 kilometers. So we marked, the CEP given at that time was 30 meters. 2 rounds were fired. First day a dud, second day a live. So the first day dud went and fell precisely in the center of that circle.
Wow.
Middle. Now the second day. Now please remember, you're not firing on the same day. The second day the weather profile changes. The second one fell just 5 meters away from the first one. And that was when all doubts in all 3 services about the capability of the BrahMos went. And this the 𝗟𝗡𝗏 had not yet been fully in place. You were using GLONASS. Now you're using 𝗟𝗏. For people who don't know, 1 meter means I can hit a tank.
Right.
Tank is about 2.5 meters by 3 to 4 meters, depending on which tank you're using. 1 meter CEP means it will hit a tank. It can hit an infantry combat vehicle. That is the level of precision with which you have struck to avoid collateral damage, which even the American systems were not able to avoid. There is a reason, I will tell you. See, the Earth is a globe, which is 3-dimensional. When you try to make a map, it becomes 2-dimensional. You have to open it. There will be errors. A simple error, I'll tell you, in the atlas. Look at the size of Greenland and size of Africa. In a normal atlas, you will think Greenland is almost the size of Africa, if not more. Actually, Greenland is much smaller than Africa. When you look at the globe, you will realize Africa is huge. But when you open it, that is the error that you get when you make it 2D. And as you go further away from the datum line that you have taken, from where you are going to map it, the errors start increasing. Now, if Americans are using GPS, their datum line would be somewhere their area. And if he's trying to use it in Iraq or Afghanistan or Syria, there will be errors. Look at the distance to be traveled. Whereas if I'm using it in my neighborhood, 𝗟𝗏, it is regional. The levels of accuracy is extremely high. Over a period of time, between the Army, Navy and the Air Force, especially Navy and the Air Force, we have mapped every area of this region. For that, you need to have survey points with ISRO, with the Air Force, with us, with our mapping systems. We have mapped and surveyed with virtual survey points and pinpoint location every inch of this area. We have digital maps and all the maps of this region. Gone are the days when we were landed in Maldives in 87, 88, when we had to protect them. We went with tourist maps. That will not arise anywhere in this region. The complete Indo-Pacific, it will not arise. You will have accurate mapping. And that is what has been shown to the world. When you hit precise location, accuracy, you want to hit a command and control center, it has gone through the middle of the roof. Today they were showing it, the photographs. When the Army, Navy, Air Force heads of the military operations were briefing. First time, till date, Foreign Secretary was doing it. Today was the one they were telling you the damages that have been done to all their air assets. Precise pinpoint location. 1/3 of the runway is always used because that is where you land or take off. Once you hit 1/3 of that runway is gone till it has been repaired, because you can neither land or take off. If you don't hit that 1/3 area, then you can take off. You may not be able to land. So you can land elsewhere in the neighboring taxi track. That is the kind of damage, but the biggest damage was the precision strike on the hills of Pakistan, next to Sargodha, next to Jacobabaad, Chagai and Kirana. Yes, yes, yes. And even Chagai Hill, next to Jacobabad, in Baluchistan, which is where maximum of their warheads were kept. That is also their nuclear testing site. Gone. Precision strike.
General Rajiv, just humor me for a second because I'm going to bring you for both.
Yeah.
This is the other one. Chagai Hills, there were two, 5.7 and 4.4, I believe, on the Richter scale.
It's not exactly an earthquake, because when sort of a nuclear or a radiological explosion takes, radiological is that the fissile material has not reached critical mass. So it's not a nuclear explosion, but the fissile material has burnt and exploded and leaves behind a radiation. Now, when that thing explodes, there are tremors which goes through the earth, very heavy tremors, and you have these seismic sensors deployed all over the world to give you a reading. So the seismic sensors have detected this equivalent earthquake, 4.4 in near Sargodha, Kirana Hills, and 5.7. In fact, Quetta also felt a 4.4. Their seismic things felt in Quetta was 4 equivalent to 4. Now this means their nuclear assets has been neutralized completely. All their, I won't say completely, all the warheads which they had kept in these two hill features are gone. Means the radiological. Yeah.
Sir, please finish your line and I'll ask you the question. I'm so sorry. I thought you were
done. So the radiological cook-off has left behind the radiation. We have blocked most of their tunnel entrances have been blocked off by the precise strike using BrahMos NG and Spike, the Israeli Spike. So now what has happened is the radiation has spread into that tunnel and that underground network that is there. Now you cannot use that site for at least 1,000 years. The residual radiation is going to stay there. So now the nuclear saber rattling that he was doing is all over. After that, over yesterday and today, did you ever hear of nuclear saber rattling? No, because there is nothing left for them. Yeah, you were asking.
So General Ravish, I keep saying same. General Rajiv Narayanan. See, this is the plume from the Kirana Hill explosion. And viewers, I have given you a lot of.
This is not the plume from the explosion per se, the nuclear.
Not the
this
nuclear.
Is what we have hit.
The impact of the bomb. Yes, impact of the bomb. Sorry for using the word plume. It just feels like that, but you're right. Absolutely right, sir. And viewers, what has happened is today a Department of Energy plane from the United States has landed in Islamabad. General Rajiv Narayanan talk to us a little bit about what exactly is this. Here is the thing. This is the Department of Energy, US code AB3192. It has landed in Pakistan. Why would they send this plane, sir?
Immediately after that, this happened. We finished the operation by about 4 in the morning. By 5, this aircraft was up over both Kirana Hills and your 𝗥𝗘𝗙𝗿 Hills. First 𝗥𝗘𝗙𝗿 and then came to Kirana. This is assessing if there is a nuclear radiation leak, how much of the leak it is. And thereafter, it has landed in Islamabad. So their assessment would be to check how much of leak comes out, because most of the tunnel entrances, like Kirana had 6 or 7, 5 of them we have blocked off. So 1 or 2 entrances would still be there. 𝗥𝗘𝗙𝗿, I don't know how many entrances we have targeted. Maybe similarly 1 or 2 entrances would be left. So they would like to assess. They can't go into 𝗥𝗘𝗙 without clearance from Balochistan, BLA. So they would like to check what has happened. And the whole dynamics has changed. In this whole war, the complete communication grid and the radar grid, air defense grid, the strategic communication grid, the operational communication grid was being provided by the Chinese. They were being provided by Chinese Beidou satellites. I'm told some of their operators were also working. You have used 𝗥𝗘𝗙𝗿.
Yes.
𝗥𝗘𝗙𝗿 is an air defense command and control and communication system, which is both offensive and defensive. Your drones were controlled by that through your Navik satellite. That is also part of the grid with AI. So normally when you have these systems, you try to feed your library with what you are having, so that you are able to detect. The manner in which we have moved, they were not able to detect. You have what was visible was whenever these drones came over us, which we knocked off. That was when the LEO satellites of Beidou were over this region, which was a clear indicator that China was supporting them. So how would they do it? You need a ground control station to do it. That was what was precisely targeted. All their ground control system, all their Strategic and operational communication system was controlled. One hub was in Pasrur, other hub was in south near Multan. I'm forgetting the name of the place. When I was in service itself, we knew these locations. They were taken out. All their radar control systems, everything was taken out. That is why you find a certain degree of air domination that you had over the skies. And their own people in their chatter used to come out that, where is our Air Force? We see all Indian drones and Indian aircrafts and Indian missiles up there. Where is Pakistan Army? Where is their AD? Where is their Air Force? Zero. Because their Air Force became blind. Absolutely blind. And that is what has shaken up, because they always thought that, yes, India is a good fighter, a powerful armed force which fights well, but they're not technologically enabled. And this is the ground shaking one which has shaken up the US, the West, the Russians also to a large extent, and the Chinese. Because like I said, we didn't use GPS, we didn't use GLONASS, we used our NAVIC, and we destroyed their 𝗲𝗚 communication links. And none of the equipment that they gave to them, whether it be HQ9, HQ16 or whatever system they gave, could not be taken out. Then everybody was thinking, if they bring in low-cost drones, why will you use missiles? We didn't. We upgraded our legacy guns, the L-70s, the Zu-2s, 23mm, the Shilka, which is on tracked vehicle, which has 4 23mm Zu guns. We upgraded them to the most modern systems. These were all optical. That means you had the pilot seeing and firing, all controlled by radar, AI enabled. And those guns, you could see the shots going. Those were the guns which took out your drones. Now the cost of the ammunition is cheaper than the drones. Cheaper than the drones. You're not taking a drone. You're not hitting a very 10 times costly missile to down a drone. The swarms of drones were taken down. Now this is where you find the difference. Israelis had an Iron Dome, but they were not able to take out all the swarm drones. We took out almost about 80 to 90%. See, in this system, the way it has been packaged is, if it is going to hit an open area where people are not there, open field. You must have seen 1 or 2 shots of a huge crater in a field in Punjab. Well, let it go there and explode. It's not going to make any difference to you. You don't touch that. And that is AI real-time enabled use of this grid, command and control grid. Fantastic. And we have not even, what people on the knowledge say, that we have only scraped 5% of our capability as yet. And that is what has scared the world. Yeah.
General Rajiv Narayanan, what I'm hearing about some technologies like Akash, they have used AI extensively.
Yep.
See, one of the things that US has been trying to say, Trump makes these statements off the cuff. One of the things he said is that we are going to prevent India from getting AI. So somebody must have nudged him and said, look, some of the technology being used in India.
We don't tom-tom. We don't come out in the commercial zone to say, this is ChatGPT, we are using it, this is this, we are using it. AI is not just being used in the defense field, AI is used being extensively in a number of other fields also. So we are quietly utilizing this. Why tom-tom about it? The complete, like I said, the Akash Tir system is AI enabled. Your Akash and others are also AI enabled. It is real time, it is quick, it can make the decision on the fly. You're seeing it. Seeing is believing. The proof of the pudding is in eating. And that is what has shocked the world so much, that that is why they are pandering to the Pakistani social media handle narratives, that they have dropped, J-10 has dropped Rafale, and so has dropped Rafale, and so has done this. Indian Air Force capability was lost. That's why India accepted for this. I'm sure the present establishment of the Americans would also be party to downing of Rafale, because you're not buying anything of theirs.
Exactly.
Right.
Rafale
and
theirs is also a bad name.
F-35 is a white elephant. Nobody is going to touch it. The availability state is only barely 30%, even for the Americans. You spend millions and millions of dollars just to keep it available at 30%, means it's a white elephant. Rafael is establishing the complete maintenance, repair and overhaul system in India. When you are establishing this in India, means all your space, all your subsystems are going to be made in India. Along with that, oh, most welcome, sir, most welcome. Share as much details you want in public, no problem. The all the fuselage is going to be made in India.
Viewers, it's still not sunk into many of you viewers what those two strikes did on the nuclear storage sites. It has rendered them useless, and for enrichment, Pakistan has to start from 0% or the lowest possible percent. Wherever the purest form of uranium they can get their hands on, it is 0%, and they have to start from there. Also, even if, let us say that they have made something, where are they going to store it? They are completely naked. I mean, we said this thing yesterday. Some of these things are not beginning to dawn on our viewers. Some of you are still upset about the ceasefire. Look, it is like a tiger toying with a cat. It's just like, I can chase you anywhere I want. Let him live for some time. So the IMF part, just set it aside for a moment. There are politics involved in that. Let's not think about that. First, look at the kind of statement India has made in these 5 days. Then, Rajiv, today what is happening, like you said, that in the sphere of influence and for India, whether it is Africa or Southeast Asian nations, Philippines and Indonesia will be high-fiving each other because they've already placed orders on BrahMos.
Even Vietnam, they want the BrahMos. Yeah. Okay, now I will give you something from Arthashastra, what Chanakya says, that if you have to kill a poisonous snake, a very poisonous snake, and what you got to do is make sure that you have removed its poison before you kill it. Poison doesn't mean I hold it and remove the fangs. I keep putting something where it hits and it can go off, or you can defang it. What you have done to the Paki snake is you have defanged it. Now you can kill it at will. There is nothing that he has. See, his whole concept of nuclearization was that he will keep reducing the nuclear threshold. Terror attacks are considered subconventional. So the gap between the subconventional and conventional reduces, so that you will always have a stalemate, and he will say he has attained victory. Now that nuclear threshold is gone, there is no nuclear. Also see the chronology of how he started the terror ops. 86 Op Topak, 𝗤𝙗𝗔 says that we must bleed India by 1,000 cuts. By 87, 88, it was known that they have had a nuclear capability available with them. 89 onwards, of course, before that, Khalistan was there. That's a different story. That was never part of their overall scheme. It was essentially to cut you off from Kashmir. 89 onwards is when the Kashmir problem started, not before that. When he was doing the Khalistan problem, why didn't he start the Kashmir problem? The nuclear overhang was not there. Now what is he going to do? The nuclear overhang is gone. He would have thought that I will use his assets inside. After taking that out, you have come out with a law that any terror act will be taken as an act of war. It is act of war against Pakistan. So two things have happened. A, it is act of war, and if it is somebody from Bangladesh, it's an act of war against Bangladesh also. The assets inside have been told that it is an act of war, so you will be tried as traitors. And for traitors in Bharatiya Nyaya Samhita, BNS, which has overtaken the IPC, it's death sentence. It's very clear and crystal. So in one stroke, you brought all of them inside. Concurrently, on Thursday, the Deoband cleric issued a fatwa to all the almost 5.5 lakh mosques that on Friday, 1 o'clock prayers, which is supposed to be most sacrosanct and every Muslim is supposed to attend that, the mullahs will read out that all Muslims of India stand with India, and you will decry Pakistan for all its terror activities and its attempt to destabilize India. What has happened? the wind has gone out of the sails of all your opposition parties also. You're mostly Devbandi. Even the Barelvi is supposed to have taken out. Bulk of your mosques are Barelvis, Devbandis. Now you understand why Owaisi was talking a language. So in one fell stroke, you have sorted this out. I used to talk earlier also about the moderates. You see, unless the moderates make their voice felt and be counted, they become irrelevant. I'll give you two examples from Second World War. I won't go further back. Everybody remembers Second World War. Entire Germany were not Nazis.
Yeah.
But the moderates never stood up to be counted against the browbeating of the Nazis. What happened? Rest is history. Look at the Japanese. Bulk of the Japanese were not hardliners. But the hardliners took over, and look at what happened with the people in Southeast Asia. The moderates became irrelevant. So through this medium, I'm reaching out to the moderates in Muslim world. Read I think it was called the Amman Declaration. 1 minute. I'll just give you that.
Viewers, while he looked it up, I just want to make one statement. Look, whatever the good general is disclosing here is already out there in public domain.
Yeah, it's called the Amman message.
Sorry, yeah, sir, go ahead.
It's called the Amman message. General Ata Hussain had taken out this Facebook. When he had gone 2006 as a brigadier, he was doing the equivalent of NDC in US, RCDS, Royal College of Defense Studies. And they had visited Jordan. Jordan is a very moderate face of Islam. Okay. Turkey used to be a very moderate face of Islam. I don't think so under Erdogan it is. And I would request our moderate Muslims to start reading this and start getting counted before you become irrelevant. Because after this, it's a rabid organization which is there across the border. Our messaging was very clear. When even our ambassadors and high commissioners were being asked that is it India, Pakistan, they said no, India versus terror. In short, in diplomacies, you have equated Pakistan with terror.
Yes. Without saying so in so many words.
Without saying so, you have stated clearly, our fight is against terror. So if you're fighting Pakistan, means Pakistan is a terror state. So either you can call it terror state of Pakistan, I call it terroristan.
Yeah.
Because after all, the 𝗤𝙤𝗵𝗲 is the son of a proscribed terrorist who was with Osama bin Laden, who supposed to be a scientist who almost sold the nuclear scientist to Al-Qaeda. And he has been proscribed not just by UN, US, UK, EU, even Pakistan. Even Pakistan has proscribed. And the 𝗤𝗤𝗵𝗲 today who's there is his son. So the linkages between all these terror organization and the armed forces is enormous. Somebody's son is there, or the army boy's son is in the terror organization. They're interlinked. There is no difference. Bahawalpur where we hit, even Muridke where we hit, across the road is the gate of their highest army headquarters out there. Corps headquarters, Div headquarters, right across the road is the entrance, and they are here. And that photograph which has been shared across the world is there to be seen. A proscribed terrorist is conducting the prayers for the janaza, and you have army officers, senior army officers, a lieutenant general can be seen standing behind him, accompanying him in prayers, and the coffins of the terrorists is covered with Pakistani flag. It's a terror state. Okay. So the rabidness will come. If he can't do that, the snake will do something or the other to strike. He's cornered now. So it is for the moderates. This is the time for you to stand up, be counted, and become relevant before you become irrelevant. When you become irrelevant, there is a saying in Hindi, चक्की में जब गेहूं पिसता है तो धुन भी पिस जाता है. Dhun is the husk. So the moderates are the husk and the gehu are the terrorists. So when they get crushed, if you don't stand up to be counted, you will also get crushed. Be careful. This is the time for you to rise. See, within a religion, nobody else can come from outside and tell you what is wrong and what is to be done. It is for you to stand up and be counted. Are you going to accept these people to take you back to the 8th century? Or are you going to modify all your hadiths that is there to be relevant in today's society and today's generation in the 21st century? Choice is yours. Path you take. Yes, it will call for sacrifice. It doesn't come easy. It doesn't come cheap. But if you don't stand to be counted, then you have only yourself to blame. So I would recommend again, please read the Aman message. And this was given to General Atta Hasnain as far back as 2006. I'm going to reach out to the good general to take a lead in this and start working towards this. Because this is their survival. This is their survival. Yeah.
General, talk to us a little bit about, BrahMos has the capability, and there was a very detailed talk that General Ravi Shankar gave about a year ago about BrahMos. I mean, starting from the name itself, Brahmaputra and Moskva rivers, combined that to make it BrahMos, because initially the technology from there, but then we went different ways, and India, enhanced it on its own and so on and so forth. Talk to us a little bit about BrahMos can, according to General Ravi Shankar, hit hypersonic speeds. Today, it is believed that some of the hits were supersonic in nature, that, there was just nothing they could do. I mean, you viewers, you guys are, we can't say everything, but if you look at the people who've done the trajectory analysis, Palmolive ka jawab nahi. That is what happened.
Okay. The normal BrahMos, which we had, 290 odd kilometers, had a Mach speed of 2.8 Mach. The new generation and the extended range generation goes to hypersonic. So nothing that
2.8 is supersonic, because Mach 1 is sonic. So anything over Mach 1 is
2.8 is supersonic. This goes over 5. This goes over 5. So that's hypersonic. And it's very difficult. Other side doesn't have. We have. And we have not yet deployed our hypersonic missiles.
Yes,
which are also available.
No, you already made that clear, sir. 5% only. We have shown only 5% of what we've got.
Yes, and that is what is making the West very scared. Because Akash Tir is something like equivalent to what the Americans have been working on for more than a decade, network-centric warfare. Now just imagine the full air picture and the ground picture is available to the commanders in a manner in which they understand whether it's army, whether it's navy, whether it's air force. Everything is available on the screen. What is where? That is a network centricity, and very difficult to jam. You're not using anything from outside. It's all homegrown. So that is the level of proficiency that you have shown in technology. Like I said at the beginning, the world thought that you fight very well, but you are not technologically that enabled. That has been put to rest in these 4-5 days. That has been put to rest, to the shock of many people who never knew how far ahead, even our own people, how far ahead we are in AI and AI-enabled networks. And that has been an eye-opener, and that is why Iyerji has put this, a new military superpower rises. I would say a new regional superpower rises, because Navik is regional. It doesn't go further. Like I said, The message, I would say, a continental power has come up. And the timing of it was also right, in the sense that when you launched all this, there was a trade delegation with the Americans sitting here looking at how to relocate chip factories and other things from China to India. Now they'll do it. They'll not think that we are not technically capable. Now they'll do it. Because without them, we have all the chips and hardware and everything of 𝗥𝗘𝗙𝗘𝗥𝗏, which is here.
Yes, yes.
All these things will start flowing in. And that is what is hurting China the most.
In fact, I would be so bold to say even US and Russia might be a little bit concerned, because some of the most compelling components in this response are homegrown. Are homegrown. I mean, you might have taken a starting point. Nobody starts, like software, right? Nobody starts from zero. You take some code and then you start adapting it for your use. That becomes your software. In this case, how is it?
Everything from scratch, as far as 𝗥𝗘𝗙𝗘𝗥𝗡 is concerned. You've not taken any source code from anywhere. Hats off to DRDO and Bell.
Hardware.
All homegrown.
Sir,
see, people forget that before 2008, you had started making the hardware. It was only in 2008, after somebody went and signed some deal somewhere, that your hardware thing in the commercial field stopped. Were restarted in the military domain. Everything from scratch, homegrown, not a single thing, whether source code or anything, nothing. The only place where you have taken a source code and modified it for fixing your weapons is the Rafale, where you took their source code. Initially, he was hesitant. He gave it to you so that your own homegrown Astra and other BVR weapons could be fitted on Rafale. That you're not dependent only on the Rafale, what the French are giving you. You can use your own. DRDO has also made BVR. So why should I not be able to use that also in Rafale? So that is where the source code was used to be tweaked to be able to use ours. As far as 𝗥𝗘𝗙𝗘𝗥𝗏 is concerned, that is what is scaring them. When you look at your 𝗏𝗡 and when you look at 𝗥𝗘𝗙𝗘𝗥𝗏, which you have utilized, everything is homegrown, nothing from outside. That is what scares them. You're not dependent on them.
Scary. You can't sanction your way around India's growth now.
Nothing.
You cannot do anything. I mean, and this is the best place to be, in my opinion. And General Rajiv Narayanan, there is a military industrial complex developing within India also. The way I see it, sir, you can correct me if I'm wrong. I know HAL manufactured for the Air Force, among other things, and then there's DRDO, then there are, like, Tata Aerospace, then L&T, and a bunch of other people. Now, do you feel like there's a fairly robust ecosystem that has developed around this that maybe enables India to also export some of this technology?
Oh, that's what I've been telling. Now all these people will come into your door. Whether it be Africa, Southeast Asia, all these Asian countries will come to you. Because your equipment you have shown that it is equivalent, if not better than whatever else these countries whom they thought, the West and the US, that they are the only ones who are technologically enabled. You can create systems. Look at 𝗥𝗘𝗙𝗘𝗥𝗏 and 𝗥𝗏. 𝗥𝗏 I call 𝗥𝗏2. How effective it is. So everybody will start coming now. And this is by opening up, firstly, the restructuring of your DPSUs into corporates and opening it up to the private sector also. Your drones, while Harop is made in India, it is their technology, Israeli technology. Then there is a Sky Striker. It is made here in Bangalore. It is again Israeli technology. Then there are the drones and all, Netra and so many others, all homegrown. There is one OEM also. I have connected with them with IIT. They are also providing to Northern Command. They are all being swamped by orders. More and more. And if you have consumed your drones, you require the replacement. They are all swamped with orders. So your military industrial complex is only going to hit the roof now. You already reached how much? 21,000 crores or some 27,000 crores is just going through the roof now. Because it is what you say in Hindi, Sundar Sasta Tikau.
Sundar Sasta Tikau. Also, viewers, this is the kind of ecosystem you want to build, because it generates so many ancillary industry units, ancillary jobs, ancillary testing, verification, all sorts of stuff starts opening. Like I said about semiconductor fab, this is also one such thing. When you have a military industrial complex, it suddenly opens up the door for many, a little bit less technical, at the same time demanding work, precision work. All these things open up. General
See,
Rajiv,
even if you have a little less technical, the moment you embed it with AI, it competes with the best in the world.
Yeah, absolutely, sir. That is absolutely right, sir. We have time for one more question. Viewers, I'm apologizing. I cannot have any questions for General Rajiv. He needs to leave early, but I kind of persuaded him to stay with us for 45 minutes. We are coming up at 41 minutes. I have time for one question. All those of you who've contributed, thank you from the bottom of my heart. I'm sorry I'm not able to mention your names. You are the usual promoters of 𝗲𝗏𝗏, so thank you so much. Last question for you, sir. Can India sustain this momentum?
Oh yes. There is no doubt in my mind. Like I said, we have not even scraped 5% of what we can do. So you have the momentum available with you, and it will be very easy for us to continue with this job. There's just no problem. I'm sorry, the lights have just gone out. So I am on UPS. Only my table lamp is on. That's why you'll find that, yeah, it has come
And
back.
it's back on.
Yeah. So
very, yeah.
The momentum is with us, and I'm sure the way it is going, I would say it gives you a new amount of energy to work towards the 2047 Viksit Bharat. This victory that you have had in these 5 days has actually shocked the whole world that yes, here is a power, and you can't stop it because you're not fighting on borrowed weapons like Pakistan is doing. I remember 99 war, I participated in that. What was it like? And you were dependent on the ammunition from the, not just the Russian, maximum help came from Israel to fight that battle. Today you don't need anybody gives, okay, it's a bonus. You're Atmanirbhar today. On most of the things in the high-tech war that is to take place, you are Atmanirbhar. And AI, always look at it as a force multiplier. Whatever technology you have put, embed AI in that, it increases its capability enormously. That's all I have to say. Be proud, be happy that you have arrived today with a bang. The world has suddenly seen you, got up to see you and said, oh, hello. It is like you're running a relay race. You are thinking you're hitting the tape, and suddenly you're blindsided and somebody else has gone and hit the tape. And you say, hello, where did this person come from? That's what has happened.
And viewers, today there is a new plant that's going to be producing BrahMoses in Uttar Pradesh, about 80 to 100 every year. So India has already planned this thing out. They're very confident that these can be not only for India's use, but it could be used for other countries also. And these also have other jobs that will go with it. If you sell BrahMos to Philippines or to Vietnam, you need to send a crew to help train them with it, to help them maintain it. These are all things where something happens and then something else starts from there. It's that osmosis that happens when things like this go. You will start seeing a much more robust industrial environment, in India. Just get ready, tighten your seatbelts. You're in for a great ride. 5 days is all it took to show what India is capable of. General Rajiv Narayanan, last word from you, and then we can wind it up. Thank you.
US showed the world in the shock and awe of 40 days in Iraq War 1. We showed the world in shock and awe in 5 days.
Very true, very true. Superb, sir, superb. Viewers, this is something that probably you're going to want to watch again, because a lot of stuff is packed into this one. And Rajiv Narayanan really humored all my Probably not your easy questions. At least I think so, because I don't know the answer to any. Thank you so much, General Rajiv. and
Thank
viewers
you.
will be back with good general soon. Namaskar.
Okay. Namaskaram. Thank you.